Hello all, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome to Comms session 252, Mida Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams with Giovanni Niedu. And you can put your questions into the Q&A chat during the presentation. Giovanni will answer those questions at the end of his presentation, but feel free to post them as you think of them so we don't miss anything. And we will also, as with the other sessions, have a post-event networking session, which I will post in the Q&A as well, so you can attend that. And we'll ask you to fill out a survey about this session at the end here. So thank you so much for joining us. And with that, I will hand it over to Giovanni to kick off the presentation. Thank you.
Perfect. Thank you very much, and welcome everybody to this session about Mida Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams. Okay, I think I was on mute. Apologies. I was saying welcome everybody to this session about Mida Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams. I will start by giving you an idea of what I'm going to talk about today. So I will start with a short company presentation and then try to answer to a question that perhaps many of you have in their mind. So why do we need another Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams? We'll present what Mida have as Attendant Console products. We have a couple of them, one named the Legacy Attendant Console and one the real Mida Attendant Console for Teams. Try to draw some conclusions at the end and then open up for questions and answer. So let's start with the company presentation. Who is Mida? We are a company based in Italy, close to Venice, so northeast of Italy. Nice place to be in Venice. So if you happen to come here and visit Venice, you are welcome to pay a visit to us as well. We were founded in 2004, so we have a bit more than 15 years of experience focusing in the unified communication market. We have a full suite of solutions for this market, for unified communications, including a contact center, attendant consoles, and a recorder. We are not a big company, but we like to think big, and we like to play all over the world, not only in Italy, which is our home country, of course. And so we fundamentally work with end customers as well as many partners that support us around the world. To give you an idea, this is a sort of view of the world map, and countries in green are places where we have sold some products or all of our products, depending, case by case. And also to give an idea of our partners, we like to group them into two broad subsets. Those that work mainly in the unified communication and collaboration field together with enterprises. And of course, you see Microsoft here, as well as many other names that you will for sure recognize. We also play with companies that work in the critical communication arena. By critical communication, I mean communications that are used in environments like railways, transportation in general, airports, command and control, so places where reliability is definitely a must. So having said that, let's try to go into the kernel of this presentation. So why another Attendant Console for Microsoft Teams? Now, what we are talking about here is mainly the possibility to manage inbound calls through the Teams telephony environment. There are some points that I'd like to raise to your attention. Now, clearly, Microsoft Teams does have a client to handle incoming calls, and that's exactly the same client we are all using today for this presentation. It provides some functionality. You can answer to calls, you can transfer calls, you can put calls on hold, but the question is probably, is this enough for a professional contact center agent? So a person that probably 8 hours a day has to deal with incoming calls and passing calls to colleagues, answering to calls, transferring calls, and so on. Possibly not. They might want to have something more to use, especially to understand, how things are happening, what's happening, and so on. There is also some constraint that we as developers face when we are trying to work in this specific aspect of the Microsoft Teams ecosystem, if you want. And in particular, when it comes to integrating with Teams, there's of course the problem of, or the aspect of APIs. The third-party applications need to make use of APIs released by Microsoft in order to integrate their application into the ecosystem. And at the moment, if you want to develop a completely autonomous client to Microsoft Teams, that's not possible. There are no APIs to do that. And also there are other type of APIs that we are in a way missing. So these are, if you want, the constraints that we have to face and that we have to consider when we are talking about building consoles, attendant consoles for the Teams environment. So what are the possible solutions? We have fundamentally identified two of them. One is you could develop a completely autonomous console, but outside of the Teams environment. At that point, you have complete freedom of what you want to do. You have complete freedom on the features, because fundamentally you are living outside of Microsoft Teams and communicating to it in some way. And that's what we call the Mida Legacy Attendant Console. It's a console that was, as the name says, was developed many years ago to work in this unified communications and contact center environment, and is still applicable. And I will show a little bit about that. Second possibility is, of course, develop something that is more closely integrated with Teams and accept the potential limitations that the environment places on your action, if you want. And that's what we have done with the Mida Teams Attendant Console. So let's have a look at the Legacy Attendant Console. It's a web-based client, so doesn't require any installation on your PC. All you need to have is one of the supported browsers. So it's on this account, we can say it's a completely seatless installation. No need to have a fixed PC or things like that. It includes a built-in soft phone, so you can use your PC, a pair of headsets, and that's all you need to answer to calls. In some environments, it can also control a desk phone and work in desk phone mode. It has some level of integration with CRM systems. Sometimes this is a requirement, so we can interact with CRM systems like Microsoft Dynamics, Salesforce, or similar to have a pop-up displayed on the console based on the information that we gather from the incoming calls. It includes the possibility to incorporate a directory, a corporate directory, through integration via the Active Directory or LDAP protocols, and is also available for visually impaired personnel. Sometimes this is a requirement. To give you an overview from a technical standpoint, you can see here a typical direct routing Teams environment with an SBC acting as a routing point between the public network, the Teams cloud, and of course the contact center, our own contact center. The Mida Attendant Console in this case works as a SIP phone, so it performs a SIP register operation at the beginning of its life, and through this SIP connection it receives the incoming calls when they are routed by the contact center through the session border controller and then finally into the agent's attendant console. From a look and feel point of view, this is how it looks like. So you see it has a broad area here on the top left corner where the incoming calls are displayed together with the name of the service, the incoming call number, and the possibility to manage the call either by using buttons that you see here on the top right corner, or by right-clicking on the call and then selecting exactly what you want to do. It has the possibility to selectively choose which services the agent wants to be working on. So the agent might be logged or assigned to multiple queues, multiple services, but he can choose which ones he needs or wants to work on. And here in the bottom left corner, you see the integration with the corporate directory that can be used to transfer calls or to place outgoing calls. By the way, what I've shown you before is the current look and feel for this attendant console. We are now refurbishing this GUI, and so I'm happy to show you a preview of what is going to be the new GUI in, let's say, a couple of months from now. And you would recognize mainly the same type of areas and information. So the area here on the left with all the calls waiting to be served, the area here in the middle with all the directory integration, possibility on the bottom right corner to select which services and queues the agent want to work on. And then here on the top right corner, information about the colleagues with their presence. And I hope you like this new feeling, this new look and feel for the GUI. Now let's move to the Teams Attendant Console. Now again, I'm reproposing here the technical architecture. So as before, we have this direct routing scenario, but in this case, the Attendant Console is directly linked to the Teams cloud. So at any effects, it's actually working as a native Teams client. And in fact, it is an app installed in the Teams client, as I will show you later. So I'd like to share with you which are the guidelines that we adopted for designing this console. So first of all, we wanted the application to be fully integrated with the Teams client, and so also downloadable from AppStore and from the classical places where you would look for a Teams application. It has two main views, one for handling calls and one which we call the Supervisor Dashboard, that gives a general overview of the contact center. And from a, let's say, queuing point of view, of course, it has to be interworking with our cloud contact center, our own cloud contact center, which is a contact center interworking with Microsoft Teams. Given the status of the APIs that we've discussed before, we have this constraint that the call is going to be handled by interacting with the Teams client. So with the small pop-up window that you also see here in my bottom right corner, and we are going to use the APIs of Teams to define the status of the operator. The directory finally can be integrated from multiple sources, which could be the Azure Active Directory, LDAP, or other Mida platforms. So this is the look and feel. So as you see, the outer shell, let me define it, is the Microsoft Teams client. You can see here on the left-hand side the icons that are probably familiar to you with the activity, bell, chat, the channels, the teams, the calendar, and so on. And you can see here one additional icon, the Mida Attendant Console icon. And when you click on that, this is what you see from a calls perspective. So it's an overview of the contact center from an agent perspective. On the left-hand side here, a pane with all waiting calls with their service and the waiting time. In the middle pane here, you have the integration with the corporate directory, with the names and so on. And on the right-hand side here, you have actually two tabs. I'm showing here the queues tab, which allows the agent to selectively choose which services he wants to work on. In this case, as you see, there are two services. One of them is, let's say, active, the other one not. The top indicators here provide the agent with information about the services, in particular the number of calls in the queue, just one in this example, the time for the longest waiting call, in this case 17 seconds, a VIP alert indicator. This is a functionality of our contact center. In some cases you can flag incoming calls as belonging to VIPs, and so in this case it would be this counter would be incremented, and some other information about active conversations. As you see, this is has been taken as a screenshot. We have one incoming calls, and you see here in the bottom right corner the pop-up from the native Teams client saying that I have actually a call arriving, and you have the possibility to answer to this call or to hang up the call. In the same situation, if I switch to the Supervisor Dashboard as I defined it before, I can have a broader view, if you want, over the contact center operation. So, for example, I see here the number of active calls. In this case, it was just one, because at this point, as you notice from the pop-up here on the right-hand side, I had actually answered this call and was dealing with the customer. So now one active call, no more waiting calls in the queues. Some information also here on the agents. So how many of them are available, 13, how many of them are actually logged into the system, how many are free, and so on. Information also here on the top right corner about waiting times, maximum and average, and conversation times, maximum and average. And the same information you see here in tabular format, if you want, are also graphed here in the middle of the window. Also, if you might remember, in this case, I had as an agent a couple of services, one called Milano, one called Padova, and for each service, I have a summary of the same information listed here in the bottom. So in this case, the Milano service was not active. I was not working on it, but I was working on Padova, and I have one active call. I have some information about waiting and conversation times, and also you can see I have received one call and I'm serving the same call. So in summary, what are the products we have been talking about today? Mainly our Attendant Consoles, the legacy one, and the Teams integrated Attendant Consoles. Behind these consoles, and I haven't spoken about them or only in minimal part, we have, of course, a cloud contact center, which is able to take all the incoming calls and distribute these calls to the various consoles, and a recorder, which is also available to record the calls that are being handled by the agents. So a few considerations why choose Mida solutions. Well, we have a contact center that is a fully integrated solution in Microsoft Teams. You might have seen how we integrate from the couple of architectural diagrams that I displayed before. And I hope you have appreciated the possibility also for the Attendant Console to be fully integrated into the Teams client. It's a contact center that's very quick to deploy. We've taken a lot of care and a lot of design in producing and developing a contact center that can be really deployed in a few hours. You can make use of our professional and support services. We can assist you during deployment and also during operations. We have a ticketing portal for any issue you might come or stumble upon, and our support engineers will be happy to help you overcome any problems you might encounter. You are talking with a company that's over 15 years in this market, and actually more than that, because before being founded, the founders already worked in the same environment for many years. We have different licensing schemas. We have traditional licensing as well a pay-as-you-grow model. And we have developed this solution in order to make your life easier when you migrate from Skype for Business into Microsoft Teams. We're, of course, a Microsoft partner. All our applications, all our consoles, contact center, and recorder are available in the Microsoft Azure Marketplace. So you can, if you go there and search for Mida, you should be able to find our applications. And we are also a partner of Microsoft. So a few conclusions. As I hope I've been able to show you today, Mida does have an Attendant Console that is fully integrated in Microsoft Teams. And in this way, hopefully you will agree with me, we are trying to solve some of the limits of the native client when it comes to serve professional contact center agents. It's part of a complete solution, it's not a standalone product, and this complete solution includes a full-featured contact center and a full-feature recorder. The Attendant Console will soon be available in AppStore. We are working on ironing out the last details that we need to develop in order to be fully operational in the AppStore market and in the, let's say, pay-per-use market. On the other hand, all the applications are already available in the Azure Marketplace. I'd like to finish here. I'm showing, this is the slide with all the sponsors for Comsverse. Mida, as you can see here on the bottom right corner, is one of the sponsors of this event, and I would like to thank them all. This event would not have been possible without their help and support. Finally, we appreciate your feedback, and to continue this discussion, please join us on the breakout room, and you see here also the URLs that you can use for this. So thank you very much for your attention today, and I hope to see you in the breakout, or if you want to contact us independently, we have a booth in the event and you can contact us on our booth. I'm finished. Over to you.
Great. Thanks so much, Giovanni. Great presentation. We do have a question. Does the agent see for who is the call in scenario if the agent handle multiple numbers?
Yes. So when the agent receives the call, as you probably remember, the waiting calls pane will also list from which queue the call is arriving, and so the agent is able to understand, let's say, the origin of the call. This is valid for both consoles, both the legacy Attendant Console and the Teams Attendant Console.
Great, wonderful, thank you. I think that is all the questions we had, but I know that you're going to be in the post-event session, and people can feel free to join that and ask you more questions there.
Absolutely, yes. And as I said, if they want to contact us on our booth, we can also settle for or agree on a demo if they want. It's not something I can demo during this type of presentations, but on a private, let's say, call, I can definitely demo the Attendant Consoles, both.
Wonderful, thank you so much. Well, I think we'll be able to end a little bit early then if nobody else has questions. So thank you all so much for joining us, and I hope you have a great rest of your Comsverse sessions.
Thank you again, and have a good evening or rest of the day for everybody else.
Bye.